chat with you all, and if we can put some things in the chat so everyone can see. That's done now, Donna, we can do it.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so well, welcome everybody to our session, Be Happy, and we're going to be looking at creating a culture of growth mindset, inclusion and well-being during assessments. So before we begin though, I thought we can begin with a hugging breath. So bringing a hugging breath into your class, starting your lessons with a hugging breath is a way to really help all our children feel included. So let's begin. And this is something that started with the lockdown when people couldn't hug each other. But hugging yourself is often a really good way to, Nina touched on this before, about self-praise, self-compassion. So making our children all feel wanted, all feel important, no matter how different they are. So let's start this together. So Ida, if you can all do this at home in all your where you are, if you can open your arms and just breathe in and give yourself a gentle hug and give it a good squeeze, and then breathe out again. Okay, and then breathe in. Give yourselves a hug and breathe out, and then we'll just do that one more time. So we'll do 3 hugs so we can start our lessons. Okay, great. And I can see you all smiling. How do you all feel now? Can you all just write how you're feeling after that hugging breath?
I have to tell you that I feel awesome.
Ah,
I feel
Minna says she
better.
feels better. Yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
smiling. And so do start your lessons with a hugging breath from now on. And it just makes the children feel, you'll see that they're just so, you have just, hundreds of smiles in your classroom. So absolutely. And Nina, you need a hug. We all do. So it's absolutely, yeah. And Salome, absolutely, it does improve your mood. It's incredible. So remember, start your lessons with a hugging breath and feel get them all to feel good. So in today's session, we're going to be looking at growth mindset, which is leading on from what Nina was talking about this morning, looking at social skills and future skills. And in fact, Nina touched on those as well. And we'll be looking at inclusive approaches in assessment. So as Nina said, every child is different. And that's important to consider when we're looking at assessments. And then we'll look at well-being as well, and well-being especially in test and exam time. So a lot of you have been writing in the chat about tests, so we can be very mindful about how to help our children. So this is a question for you all. When did you last take a test or an exam? And what test or exam was it? So let's see. So Ida, when did you last take a test? Oh, the TKT, we've got Italian exam,
B1.
Vanessa, B1, yeah. I think that was me.
I took a test in October. I took the international certificate, computer-based test as part of the beta testing. So the full test.
Wow, so you've taken a test. And how did, just if you've taken a test recently, any test, how did that make you feel? So how did you feel about that, Ida?
Well, a bit stressed. I mean, even though, I wasn't doing it I was doing it for the purpose of, making sure that everything works. I wanted to see the experience. Still, it was a bit stressful. Every time I hear the words test, I just get a bit jittery.
Yeah. And in fact, Vanessa says she felt nervous. Everyone's got different. How did you feel about your tests? Yeah, we got different certificates going in there. Out of my comfort zone. Definitely. Absolutely, yeah. So there you go. So again, we can be mindful as well about our children, and how do our students and our children feel when they take a test or an exam. So again, you can use these emojis. You can, always just check in with them about how they're feeling, and to, emphasize that it is normal to be, perhaps a bit nervous, perhaps a bit worried, but we can also try and encourage them to be happy. And we're going to be looking about seeing assessment as an opportunity. And Ida, you were talking about younger children as well, weren't you, with tests?
Yes, I'll be mentioning that in a bit as well.
Yeah, and also one of the things as well is that we do have the sometimes young children don't actually feel nervous with tests because for them it's a new opportunity. So we need to cash in on that. Now, this is a really good website. It's the Health for Kids, led by the NHS in the UK. And there are lots of ideas on here. And one thing is to talk and ask students about how they feel and acknowledge their feelings. This is really important. And our emotions are like the weather, and they can go up and down. We don't need to be happy all the time. We don't need to be sad all the time. So helping children talk about their emotions can help them regulate them as well. So by reflecting on them and by naming them, and naming them in English as well, as we're in an English lesson. So when children learn to manage their emotions in childhood, it can actually lead to positive attitudes and behaviours later in life. So if you're able to, for example, giving your children, this was an idea from a teacher in Sicily, she got her children to, at the beginning of each lesson, to just write a circle, you know, how they're feeling, and that's really interesting. You get lots of different people are in different places. Also, this lovely little chart there from the little worksheet from the NHS. Today I feel, so how you're feeling, and then they could perhaps, if there's something that's making them feel sad or happy, but again to you know, notice that as well. And when we're looking at assessment in particular, there are factors that can actually affect young people's performance in a language test. For example, anxiety over the second language use, you know, if it's a test they're not doing in their own language. If we're fluent in a language, we forget that people that aren't, you know, do have difficulties. So also it could be an overly formal testing environment that they're not used to. So an unfamiliar content and format of the assessment, and their general well-being. They might just have a tummy ache that day or a headache, you know. So again, let's think about all of these things here. So we're going to look now at a growth mindset, which introducing the idea of growth mindset into our classes can actually help us build confidence. So this is, so let's look now. So what is a mindset? So in the chat, what is a mindset? Let's have a look. Yeah, and Grashnas also talks about the smileys are beautiful representations of diversity. Absolutely. It's your attitude, Miriam. Yes, absolutely. So basically, Carol Dweck, she's written a lot about mindset and done a lot of research on it. She defines mindset as a self-perception or a self-theory that people hold about themselves, and believing that you're either intelligent or unintelligent is a simple example of a mindset. So a little bit like the parent that Nina was talking about when she took her child out into the playground. So let's see who we've got today. Are you a glass half full or half empty? So we've got this glass here. Do you see it half full of water or half empty? Let's see what people are saying. Who have we got out there? What have we got? Have we got lots of full? We got lots of fulls. Good. Well, that's
some
good.
empty.
Good pace. Yeah. Ida, how about you?
I think 97% of the time half full.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. And this is a good one, you know, to do with our children, because obviously it does depend on your mindset as to whether you see that glass half full or half empty. So let's just look at refresh our memory of the two different types of mindset. So a fixed mindset, these people have a tendency to believe that intelligence, for example, is fixed at birth and you can't do much to change it. A growth mindset means that people have a tendency to believe that their talents and abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work and effective strategies. And obviously this is something that's really important, you know, to educate children, educate parents, educate everybody really, that you can change, and we can change the brain as well, and we're going to be looking at that today. So as Carol Dweck says, it's not surprising that studies have repeatedly shown that learners with a growth mindset can actually achieve more in school and later on in life. And in fact, Nina today talked about success as well. And a lot of that is also underpinning with a growth mindset. So this is the question, going back to school now, we're starting school. So how can we at the beginning of the school year and then throughout the school year support young learners to develop a growth mindset? Because obviously if we can get them young, this is something that will stay with them all their lives. So again, it's praising effort. If I try hard, you can do better. And giving children feedback that highlights the values and different learning strategies. And for example, everybody's a star. Nina's lovely star activity. That's a really good way of showing positivity. Emphasizing progress and not mistakes as well. And encouraging students to see mistakes as an opportunity to learn. Now, this is really important. So this is where we can bring assessment in as well. And also helping our children change their language, and we're going to be looking at that now, and encouraging them to see obstacles and limitations as opportunities to demonstrate ability. So the idea of opportunities. Teaching our children that intelligence can grow and blossom with effort. And this idea is gaining traction in progressive education circles. So this is really important. And then talking about the language, also we're in an English lesson as well, so we can think about this. So instead of thinking, I can't do this, I'm not good at learning languages, I'm still learning, I'll keep trying. I'm not good at this. They could think about, what can I learn to get better at this? It's good enough. Is this the best I can do? It's too hard. With more practice, it will get easier. I give up. I'll try a different way. So just look at this. Is there a phrase that you like that you think you might use with your children now? Yeah, well, Ida, what have you got
Yeah,
there?
I'm just thinking, I'm just looking at it. I mean, and thinking of my own child. I think that a first one always resonates is that, that was, we keep telling her, you're still learning, you'll get there. You maybe don't know it, you will know it in a, you just keep trying. That's it. That's the only thing you can do is keep trying. So,
and in fact, as Nina says, that very often students say they can't do it, but she says, yeah, you can't do it yet. Absolutely. With more practice. Yeah. One day, absolutely. And in fact, it's that power of yet that Nina was talking about, that you can't do this yet. I don't understand it. I don't understand it yet, but I'm going to try and find ways to understanding. So that idea of nothing is impossible, and we can all go out there and this can absolutely help children along that journey. So Ida, how can assessment help build a growth mindset?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when it comes to assessment, everybody, well, at least where I come from, my assessment is always considered as something very, strict and formal. And, you come home and you're going to be asked, like, how did you do on a test? And, then there is some repercussion coming later. And I think this is just something that hopefully with time will stop, especially with young learners who then at the very early age, get scared of tests, which is something that with a growth mindset, I believe that really shouldn't be the case. And we can change it if we just start, seeing the test. We'll have our students and our children look at the test as an opportunity, as okay, so I've had a test, I didn't pass or do very well, I didn't get an A or a 5 depending on where you are in the world, but this is okay, so next time I'll do better. Now I know what I have to fix, what I have to do differently. And I would even argue that that teachers can also say, okay, I'm giving you a test because I want to check what we as a class should do together, how we can improve. So definitely something that that a growth mindset can help with. And I'm just going to use the example of our English benchmark young learners as an example how a test can be a nice experience, still a test, but something that students can look at as a way that, to check themselves and to see where they are and a way to improve themselves. So I'm just going to come back a bit and look at this cycle of learning, as we call it. And as you all know, we always start with a diagnose because we want to check where they are. So that's usually what we do at the beginning of the year. And even though we have to follow a certain curriculum, if you work in a state school, we do the diagnose test just to see what we have in front of us, what type of students, because we know we won't approach them all the same, so that we can plan then and we can teach it. And then we would have this first start, this first assessment, this first check. And here we could say to the students after a teaching cycle, so we are going to see where we are, and don't worry, this is just a way for me to check myself and for you to check yourselves, where you are in the learning process and what we should then do, let's say repair and do better, so that we get better results in the end. And here, the difference between formative and summative assessment, of course, it's very important, because I think we want to say to our children, to our students and our kids, that with the check moment, we want to see, what also we as teachers should do differently so that you get better results. And not just, okay, you've done this wrong, you need to learn more, because that won't get us the same result as if we present it as something that we're doing together as a team. And then, of course, the final assessment, the summative assessment, where we check the learner's ability and where they are. It can be, of course, something that's usually taken at the end of the year, and it can be something that's taken in class, or it can be a type of certification, which I'm going to talk a bit more about in a minute or two. So the benchmark young learners, a test that doesn't feel like a test. This is what we want, right? We want to be able to test what they know, our students, but we also don't want to stress them out, especially at a young age, because if we manage to get them involved in tests and show them that it's an experience where they can learn something and grow, then later on in life, when they do, let's say, more serious exams, they won't have that stress. They can just focus on their knowledge and not be, their judgment won't be clouded with all the stress they have of, sitting in front of a paper and looking at it. So the English benchmark young learners, it's what we try and say that it's a fun and stress-free test. It covers, young learners from pre-A1 to B1+, and it tests all 4 skills. But what it does it on a medium that our students, I think, whether we like it or not, they like it. So they would use a tablet or a laptop, and that's how they would do the test. So in their eyes, they're playing. In our eyes, we are checking how they're doing and how they're progressing. And we believe that this is very important to the point that now we're also including this in our courseware. So this is an example from the Rise&Shine course book that you've heard about already. And so in the book, you will now see that there is a reference where they can test, where they can go to benchmark young learners, and teachers and students can check their knowledge, because they can take that test more than one time. They don't do it just as a summative assessment at the end. They can use it as formative assessment during the year, because there are more than one test at the same level. So again, it's a nice way to check how the students are progressing. And again, the idea was to work for the students. Very often we get to those tests where, we try to catch them and see how they can fall. And here it's all about building them up and finding ways to help them do better in tests. So we use a lot of gamification, of course, because it's something that's fun, and it gets them motivated. The design is very nice. So again, they enjoy interacting with these characters. It's relevant to real life as well. Because it also includes a mix of accents and different people, which is something that they will encounter when they continue on their learning journey and life. And of course, we try to make the user experience as user-friendly as popular, because, we can nowadays with all the technology that's available. Okay, and a very important thing here. Everybody loves certificates, right? And they're something that they can show to the parents and grandparents and their brothers and sisters. And here what we do is we don't say, okay, you got an A, great job. We say we want to celebrate their effort. So everybody here gets a certificate, the certificate of achievement. Of course, they would get teachers and parents would get a report. But what they would get is great effort. You've done it. You know, even if you've just tried and maybe you haven't got everything right, you've made an effort, and that should be celebrated. And of course, parents would get a report in the local language, because that's important, because as we know, a lot of parents don't necessarily speak English, but they want to know how their child is progressing.
Yeah, and I think this certificate would speak to Nina's example that she talked about today, that parent that was really grumpy. So there you go. And these are beautiful certificates. So
yeah,
lovely.
very, very nice. Okay, so just very quickly, I'm just going to show you what the different different skills that are tested and the different question types. So here you'll see that throughout the test, the students are asked to listen and respond. So here we say listen and act. It means listen and then you have to do something. So situations that they would encounter in school, it's not they're going to be tested on something they've never seen or heard before. So we've got listening skills. Then we also move to the next slide, please. Okay, so we've got reading, where again the level of difficulty would increase, of course, as they take higher levels of the test, and of course the reading types are pick the word you hear, read, and then do an activity, read the sentence. So it starts with simple stuff and then it gets more difficult. The speaking part, it's listen and retell or answer the question. And again, because we have this AI technology that can assess speaking, we use it in all of our exams. So this is something that's proven and it works, and it is possible. And of course, writing, again, it goes from simpler tasks to more difficult tasks, from, complete the sentence to write the story in the end. So an open response type of question.
So Ida, so we've looked at assessment there. So what you talked as well about a stress-free exam experience. How can we create that?
Yeah, well, if you've been with us during the break, I think that's been there's been a video who sort of ruined this part. I'm kidding, but we have this Pearson English International Certificate for Young Learners, and I would use that as an example of how we can create a stress-free exam environment. Because I do appreciate it. Not everything can be done on a tablet or a laptop. So good old paper is still around in most of our scenarios right now. So just a bit of background on the International Certificate for Young Learners. Again, it's for young learners, so ages 6 to 13. It's got 4 levels. It tests for all of the 4 skills, and it's divided into 2 parts. So we've got a speaking part that is separate. And of course, the certificates that are available for students are on different levels, but the great thing about it is everybody gets one. Again, no student is left behind. We don't say, oh, you failed. And again, a very important thing here is that it tests learning skills. It's not a test where you're just going to test grammar and vocabulary, because why? And I would say that for any test on any level, because the idea of tests is to prepare our students for life. So why not start from the test for young learners? So we are going to test learning skills, literacy skills, and of course, life skills, which are crucial for everything they're going to do later. And the characters they're going to encounter are the ones that they've encountered throughout their practice of the test, and it's the same characters in every activity, which in this case is the Brown family. So Brown family, they've got different kids of different ages, so you can really do different test different things, because one is a younger child, one is a teenager, so you can go into different vocabulary topics there. And again, the type of the format of the test is done in such a way that all the activities are, let's say, very well known to them, and it will test them in a less formal environment than you would normally have maybe in a classroom. A very important thing, and I think this is something we can all do with any test, is they get these messages, these motivational messages on exam paper that says, good luck, good luck, good luck. Imagine if that had that on every test. I would like that on my test as an adult. What about you, Donna?
Oh, absolutely. It makes you feel, less worried, and oh gosh, we're all here together.
We're all, exactly, this person who's given me this actually wants me to succeed. I mean, that's super positive. And just to give you an example of this, I'm just going to play you very briefly the beginning of the listening part.
Hello, kids.
Can you hear it?
Hello, boys and girls. Today's test is first words. Tasks 1 and 2 are listening. Good luck and have fun.
Good luck.
Task 1. Bill arrives at the Brown.
Okay, isn't that lovely? Lovely cheery message and gentle voice. Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. And that they get that before every task. This is Nadia, this is not from the book, it's from the Pearson English International Certificate for Young Learners.
Hello, kids.
It's our international exam for young learners that they would take before they go to more serious international exams. So the idea behind it is to have this first, let's say, serious exam that they would take in their lives, have it as a fun and a nice experience, because so that later in life, where they take other tests, again, they see it as a stress-free thing. And again, as I've mentioned, they get this lovely certificate with different stars. So everybody passes. The lowest that they can get is 2 stars. So they can't do lower than that. And again, everybody's celebrated. In some schools that we work with, they create this big ceremony where they invite everybody, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and everybody gets a certificate and is praised for their success. But at the same time, they do get, the teachers get, students get a detailed report to, how they did on every particular skill. So it's not just here for fun. We do get a lot of feedback from it, but the whole experience is a lot of fun. Laura, you've mentioned here, you don't like the good luck part. From my point of view, it looks like my knowledge is not important, but the circumstances or environments. So we should be careful with that. Well, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's just nice to hear good luck. Like, I don't know, when whatever you do, like, my kids go to kindergarten this morning, I say, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck for everything. It's just, it's nice to hear. It's a positive message. And I think that's always important.
And as you said, Ida, it's sort of, life skills, isn't it? And it's something that it's a good way to, it's one of those phrases, but yeah, and have fun, of course, as well. Absolutely. So Ida, how can assessment build social skills?
Okay, so I mean, that's we need those all the way through, and of course we talk about this a lot. And for example, here, this is I think we'll send you the link for this as well. So, like, for example, here you'll have the 7 important social skills for kids, which is sharing, cooperating, listening, following directions, respecting personal space, making eye contact, and using manners. And all of this can be done through, for example, here, the international certificate, because they have to cooperate, they have to work together in the test, because in the speaking part, they work as a group. So you're not testing them one by one, but they do work as a group, and they have to collaborate. They have to make eye contact with each other so they know about, you know, whose turn is it. They need to be able to ask each other questions. Of course, like, you know, and using manners and taking turns. So all of this can be done through assessment. Of course, especially the speaking part, which again, we argue that can be done as a group, teamwork, and not just one-to-one.
Okay.
And let me just give you an example of this collaboration. So, Jonah, can you just play the first part? I'll tell you what to stop.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes. Okay, today's exam is first words. Okay, my name is Bridget, examiner name Bridget Hughes, test centre number 84934, examiner number 03193X. What's your name?
My name is Carl.
And what is your number, Carl?
My name is 20.
Your number is 20. Carl, 20. Thank you. And what's your name?
My name is Diletta.
Diletta, and what is your number, Diletta?
Is 21.
21, thank you.
Okay.
And your name?
You can stop here. So Gaia, who's the next girl, the girl who's going to be speaking next, she's helping Diletta remember. So it's not like Diletta doesn't know. She's just, you know, she's helping her remember. And that's exactly what, you know, this part of test sort of supports and wants to teach our students, that it's important to collaborate. And yes, later on in life, of course, they won't be able to collaborate on their speaking exams. But if this first experience is stress-free, then later on, every other experience will be much easier for them. And I would like to argue here something that maybe it's not the same everywhere in the world, but later on, what this test does, if you start like this when they're very young, with this, let's say, more formal environment where here Bridget needs to say, you know, her center number and everything, which is more formal. But it's also important for them to understand that if it's a formal test, you need to obey by certain rules, because some teachers here on the call that are from Croatia know that, for example, when you take a Matura exam in Croatia, you can't write your name. So you can't say that who you are, of course, because that would you wouldn't be fair. So if you teach them at the very early stage that if you have to say your name, but you have to say your number. So later on, when it comes down to just giving your number or any type of ID number, letters, whatever, you know, with time it will become more easy for them and more natural for them when they take other formal exams as well.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Let's move to the
and life skills
and future skills. Yes. Well, here is a great quote by Ken Ginsberg, that resilience is a process of bouncing back. And again, this is what tests should do. So, okay, fine, you didn't do well. Let's bounce back. Let's try again. And next time you'll do better. You just have to try harder, and you'll get there. And the other quote, it resonates more with me, I have to say. This is one of my favorites. So is Dory from Finding Nemo always says, just keep swimming. And I keep saying that to my kids on every occasion, is just keep swimming.
Absolutely. I think this is just so wonderful.
Yeah, it is. And it's great to see, you know, how kids are actually very good with that. They don't get so upset about bad things if we teach them from the beginning. Okay, never mind, let's keep swimming. You know, things will be better. And with time, they will surprise you how well they take to things that we think will be very difficult for them. And they just say, oh yeah, whatever, next time I'll do better. I have to work on it. And here again, this turn taking, we've mentioned the board game. This is very important. And in my opinion, this is one of the best things about the international certificate for young learners, is they work together. So there's a lot of collaboration, turn taking, you know, being respectful of one another, supporting each other, because this is how this will help them in real life, because communication skills is something that we still have to work on a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then again, the topic cards that they have to talk about them. They can choose which one, the topic they want to talk about, which is also nice. We're not just making them talk about something. They get to choose and talk about their personal interests, and then other children get to ask them questions about it. So they have to think about what they're going to ask them, because of course it's not a preset. They don't know what they will choose. So again, it's a great way to start them, working together. And next slide, please.
Yeah.
Okay, and another life skill, definitely, that I've just briefly mentioned about these numbers on tests, is the protocols on test day. It's important to know this, because as we all know, we'll take a lot of tests during our lives. So there are test day tips from the night before. You should have, you should get some rest and sleep well, and do not worry, and eat well, eat your breakfast, don't skip it. All of these things that we do, well, we don't follow as adults. I think if we get it right when we are young, it will be much easier later on.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And now a question to you, Donna, that how can we make a positivity a keystone habit? It's nice to talk about it. How do we make it happen?
So, well, one of the ways that we can begin is to look at the action for happiness. So we're going to be looking at positivity as well. So it's all linked to growth mindset, to resilience, and as Nina was talking about earlier, to grit. So here's the, if you go to the website, the action for happiness, you can, you'll find this lovely calendar, and it's altruistic August. So just if everybody can just take a second and look at the calendar, and is there a day that lands with you? So Ida, is there a day, what lands with you?
Ooh, I would love to do the Saturday 13th, no plans day.
Oh, I know,
yourself.
yeah. Be kind to yourselves, yeah. Absolutely. What what have we got? We got a lot of people, yeah. Fantastic. And then some people are asking if you this is also available for September, so you can look at self-care September. And remember, that's really important for teachers. So find time for self-care. It's not selfish, it's essential. So September the 1st for me again. So remember the action for happiness calendars. And in terms of, students feeling nervous before exams or tests, and just their whole, like you were talking about, Ida, you were saying that tests usually have repercussions, people asking about marks, etc. So just really, getting children to tip the balance back to positivity. Now, there's science behind this. The alarm bells of our brain, which is the amygdala, uses about 2/3 of its neurons to look for bad news. This is, it's primed to go negative. This is all, going back to prehistoric times, when prehistoric man, if they saw something that was sort of straight or a bit bendy on the floor, they thought, oh, it could be a branch or it could be a snake. So you were always primed to think it's got to be a snake, so you didn't go and touch it and then, get bitten. So basically, this is what we call the negativity bias, and it's part of human evolution. But we do have the chance to change this by appreciating and lingering on tiny positive moments every day. So it's training our children to think about those small positives. So getting the children, for example, to at the beginning of a lesson or at the beginning of the week or the end of the week or at any moment, to try and instill gratitude into their minds. And we found that gratitude is linked to happiness in children by the age of 5. So instilling gratitude in your children at a young age can help them to grow up to be happier people. So just get your children to draw a circle and write down or draw one thing that's made them smile this week. So Ida, one thing that's made you smile this week?
One thing that's made me smile this week. Well, I got to back and I'm going on a trip this afternoon.
Oh,
that makes
great.
me smile.
What about all the teachers at home? What's made you smile this week? Anything got you to smile this week?
Very useful ideas for my work.
Yeah.
I also got to smile to a message from Ivona, higher up, that says about cultural differences, and that's how if you say good luck, sometimes it says, "Oh, you're gonna jinx it," and
Yes,
that's really
yeah,
sad.
no,
But there's
absolutely.
in Italy there is this in bocca lupo and
In bocca lupo, crepi
and
lupo.
crepi,
In
yeah,
England, you say break a leg.
like a
Yeah.
leg.
So I
So
mean, you know, it's really funny. The whole good luck thing's just turned into but it's amazing. That's made me
breaking
smile as
legs.
well. Just that sort of whole culture. So thinking about steps to happiness as well. So we can link it to the Agenda 2030 as well. So looking at good health and well-being. So the whole idea of citizenship. And we've got these lovely drawings by Amy Malloy here, connecting with others, being physically active can help us be happy, thinking about gratitude more before we go to bed. Train your children to think about, before they go to bed, one thing that's happened in the day that will make them happy. And again, not everybody does that automatically, so we need to train children, and practicing in class can help. Paying attention to the present and also learning new skills. So these are things that can help us be happy. Now, Nina had a lovely idea here today about the star, but also these are things that you can do at the beginning of the school year to help self-belief. So, for example, an all about me picture where the children write their name, they write or they draw their favorite book, their favorite place, their favorite food, and that's nice because then you've got different in the class, the children that all like blue or like green, they can all talk to each other, or you can get your children to make a little mini book, an amazing me. So again, things that they're good at, recognizing the things that they do, and everybody has to be positive about everybody's book. So get the children to come up to the front of the class and show their book or show all about me, and everybody goes, Ida, you're great, Donatella, you're great, Nina, that's fantastic. So again, giving them some positivity language as well, which is really important. And then looking again, this is something that can help our children before they do a test or an exam, and it's the idea of smiling. And it's not just celebrities, but everybody can light up a room if they smile. A smile does spur a chemical reaction. So let's just all turn. We've got Ida, everybody, let's just smile. And at home, can you all just smile? And again, just practice smile time in the class. So again, at the beginning of the lesson, let's all have a smile, have a hugging breath and a smile. At the end of the lesson, smile. Again, it can make you feel better, and some people do need to have training in that. So really, really important. Okay.
And then a bit about well-being and assessment, Donna.
Yeah,
At
absolutely.
the end.
So remember, teachers, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's the oxygen mask in the aeroplane idea. First of all, yourself and then your others. So again, this is really, really important for our teachers. Take care of yourselves. Now, mindfulness is all about being present in the present moment and non-judgmentally. Now, so mindfulness can really help with exam time. It can help us pay attention. It can help us focus and be more concentrated. It can help with our curiosity and being non-judgmental, and that whole idea of awareness as well. So acceptance and self-compassion are important. And this all leads to performance and productivity. And there's a lovely guide by Amy Malloy that Pearson has produced that you can all read. And again, we look at the whole idea of how mindfulness can help us at exam time. Very often, when we're in a stressful situation, if it is stressful for you, your body can increase the heart rate, your hearing shuts down. You could either fight or flight or freeze, and that's what happened to prehistoric man when they used to see a saber-toothed tiger. They might have ran away, they might have just frozen, or they might have tried to attack it. So again, mindfulness can actually help us stay calm during exam time, and also stop the idea of what we call anticipatory worry. We spend a lot of our times worrying about things that aren't actually going to happen. So I've got that test tomorrow and it's going to go really badly, and I haven't practiced and I haven't done this. So again, it's that whole sort of anticipatory worry. So being more focused on the present can help us. This is Vanessa's here in the audience, and she did this lovely drawing about how mindfulness can actually help to anchor you into the present. Okay, so not thinking about the past, it's gone, not worrying about the future, it's not here yet. Let's just think about the present and be here today and now. And again, if we can get our children to do that by these activities in class, you know, your hugging breath, your smile, really being focused on the present, telling them about it, that can help. And you can listen to some guided practices, some audio practices from the Pearson website. We're going to give you the link as well if you want to practice. And again, even just taking a deep breath before a test, that can really help your children. Just tell them to sit down and take some deep breaths. Or we can see here in Rise and Shine, you know, going for a very mindful walk and noticing if you're going out into the countryside, you can just look, just notice, you know, what you can see. So and look out for things that they haven't noticed before. So and reflect on it, and that's important. And remember, as John Kabat-Zinn says, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. And so that's what we can, you know, we can't stop tests. They're part of our lives, but we can actually help make them a more pleasurable experience. And really train our children to see the test as an opportunity and to be happy.